Okay, December 10th, 2014 at 11:40 p.m. A young couple were at a motor vehicle, a dark-colored Lexus. They were parked legally in the 100 block of Appleglen Park S.E. The young couple were talking about their future, having a cigarette. They had rolled down the windows to their vehicle when they were approached by a male described as 6'2", Caucasian, wearing dark clothes. He had a black baseball cap on, and he had a hoodie over top of his cap, partially shielding his face. He walked up to the young couple on the driver's door, engaged in a small, inconsequential conversation, and without any warning began to brutally stab the male driver in the neck. The victim was able to quickly drive himself to the hospital, where he was treated by emergency staff and is expected to make a full recovery. We have not been able to establish a motive in this unprovoked attack. The couple were not doing anything wrong. They were simply parked and having a conversation in their car. The Calgary Police Service is asking for members of the public to please report any information that they have that may help solve this situation. We take this investigation very seriously for a number of reasons. Number one, it's a serious attack against a member of our public. Number two, we believe it was unprovoked. Number three, it could happen to anybody. This young couple was parked on a public street. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were simply sitting in a vehicle and having a conversation when they were brutally attacked by a knife wielding suspect.
That doesn't happen very often.
Not to my knowledge, and I've been here for 28 years.
And you have no knowledge of this couple?
None.
Do they live in the Applewood area?
I'd prefer not to say, but they live in our community.
And the victim drove himself to the hospital?
That's correct.
Which hospital was?
They first went to the Peter Lougheed Hospital, and then the victim ended up in Foothills Hospital.
Was he transported by ambulance?
Emergency medical services, yes.
Do you have the exact number of times he was stabbed?
We do know, but we're not going to release that information. It was several times.
Were there any other witnesses? Did you knock on doors in the neighborhood? Or did anyone see anything else?
We're currently conducting an investigation as we speak. We arrived at the scene shortly after the incident, and me and my team have been working around the clock on this case.
It sounds like, I mean, is there anything to indicate that this may be a case of mistaken identity? Like, is this like maybe meant to be a targeted attack, but wrong target?
We don't believe it was a targeted attack at all.
Sort of an event out of the, not only in Calgary, but in the area, like is that sort of event, I guess not common, but I have no idea where I'm going with this question. Have you seen this kind of thing before in Calgary, and is that area kind of a bad area?
The area is not a bad area, and this is an infrequent occurrence that took place.
Can you give a description of the knife, like the size of it, or like their
No.
like a hunting knife or like a jackknife or?
We're not going to release that information. It's a good question. I will say that the person was seriously injured.
And I'm sorry, did I miss that earlier? Did you recover the weapon then?
We're not going to release that information as well. Good question, though.
What was the extent of the injuries? Were they life-threatening at the time? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the person was stabbed several times in the neck. And as everyone can well appreciate, that would be a very grave, serious injury.
Is there any update on his condition right now? Or
He's stable, and he's expected to recover from his injuries.
It's kind of an aside, but why didn't the passenger jump in? The guy's like presumably gushing blood from his neck and driving himself to the hospital.
Sorry, what was the question?
Well, I mean, the guy's like gushing blood from his neck, you would think, right? But
Yes.
it's strange that he would drive himself to the hospital with somebody else there.
with the passenger?
Passenger being there.
Doesn't sound safe.
What we're dealing with is a young couple who encountered something that they never encountered before, and we don't want to be too hard on the decisions they made when they had this situation to deal with. And so we're well aware that the individual drove himself to the hospital. We appreciate the fact that they at least had the courage to do something that inevitably ended up saving this individual's life.
When they drove off, were they able to see what the suspect did? Did he hop in a car? Did he have a direction of travel at all? Did they say anything about after they left, or were they just?
No direction of travel. All we know is the person was on foot and that they came from a darkened area of an alley.
What more can you tell us about the description of the offender?
That the person is 30 to 35 years of age, more than likely Caucasian, but could be lighter skinned. He was dressed in dark clothing. He had a black baseball cap with no insignia on the front, and he had his hoodie over top of the cap.
Can you speak to you mentioned it was kind of an inconsequential conversation between the victim and the suspect. Can you elaborate, I guess, as far as how long did this conversation last? What was sort of did they have any kind of fears at the time that, this guy seemed a little aggressive?
From the victim's point of view, there was nothing to indicate that the situation would have erupted in violence. The conversation was brief, and it was general in nature.
In terms of, can you go into further detail?
Yeah, I'm just curious about this. Was there a robbery attempt at all?
No. No known motive for this attack.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
The only other question I had was in regards to the timing. It's not every day that we get called out to Westwinds at 8 o'clock at night for something. Has anything changed in this investigation over the last few hours, or has it just been a matter of you guys being able to speak to the victim and get a fuller description and get that, you want that information out there now?
That's exactly why we're appealing to members of the public to give us a hand in this investigation. We want to be thorough. We don't want to unduly alarm people. We want to be factual when we come to you, and we're giving you the information that we have that we've come to know.